Welcome to Disability, where we turn our diagnosis into a dominant trait. My next guest is a woman who has decided no matter what life throws in her direction, she's always going to find a way through. Most people have to deal with the burden of living with one medical condition, no matter how unkind. But imagine having to tackle several obstacles, including being recently diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Her story is like no other, and since March is MS Awareness Month, she's been kind enough to share her journey with us today. Everybody, welcome to the show, Tanasia.
Hey, y'all. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing? Long time
I'm
no
good.
speak.
I know. Thank you for having me.
No, of course. Thank you for, hollering at me, reaching out, letting me know you're interested to tell your story.
Yes, of course.
So I always like to start from the beginning just so people can get an idea of who the person is and everything. And so take me back to the start. Let's start with where you from.
I'm from the Bronx, Parkchester to be exact. Born
Okay.
and raised. Yeah.
Okay, born and raised in Parkchester. So you have any siblings?
I was raised the only child, but later on in life, I did meet my 5 brothers and sisters. So
Oh, wow, okay.
that's another story for another time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I would think so. So being that it seems like maybe you was raised as like an only child, how was childhood for you? Was it normal? Were you spoiled a lot? Was it?
I was definitely spoiled. I had a cousin who was like 3 months younger than me, so that's my sister. We lived together, and so we were in the 4th grade. So even though I was raised the only child, I always had that sibling aspect within her.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's dope. As you was like growing up, did you experience any kind of dealings with illness, or was like the only time you got sick was like a cold? Or have you ever experienced something really?
I would only get little colds here and there. My family thought I was a hypochondriac sometimes, but for the most part, no, I didn't have any issues. Maybe just with like emotional instability, I would say, and not knowing how to control my emotions the correct way, but that would probably be about it.
Like mental health kind of things and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Okay, we'll touch on that. So multiple sclerosis, right? When were you diagnosed with that? Well, matter of fact, let me ask you this: when was the first time you've even heard of that? When was the first time that illness became on your radar?
So it came on my radar, I would say maybe the early 2000s. A very close family friend of mine, Todd, rest in peace to him, he came down with multiple sclerosis, and he went downhill, I would say, within like a year or two.
Oh my.
So that was the first time I knew about the disease, and then from there I heard about it from artists like from Richard Pryor had it, Tamia the singer has it, Montel Williams has it. So I always heard about it from there, but that was probably about where I found out about it at.
Okay, and did you know much about what it was then, or did you find out more about how did it affect you later on down the line?
I had no clue what it was.
No clue what it was. Okay.
I just knew like when I would see my Uncle Todd, like this sounds bad to say, but I just used to always say, I could not be like that. Like I would just, and now it's me, but
Right.
I just never knew what it was and what it did to the body and how it could affect people differently until I became diagnosed with it.
Okay. So for people, first of all, rest in peace to him. God bless the dead. For people who've never heard of multiple sclerosis, don't know what it is, how would you describe it in your own words?
So I always say it's a neurological disease that can affect your brain, your spinal cord, and your eyesight, optic neuritis. It's a snowflake disease, so it affects everybody differently. It all depends on where your lesions are based at. Most of my lesions are in my spinal cord. So that's what I usually tell people that's what it is. Because it's not an autoimmune disease. It's considered a neurological disease, but it does compromise your immune system, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So yeah, I usually just explain it like that.
That's heavy. Like, there's a lot to grasp, but it sounds like you have a nice understanding of it. It's not genetic, is it?
It's not.
Not genetic.
It's
Okay.
not.
Okay. So what kind of symptoms, if any, were you experiencing beforehand that kind of led up to the diagnosis?
So I'm going to start from when I was in college. I would say around like 23, 24, I woke up and I had no feeling in my left arm, my pinky, and my ring finger. They said it was a pinched nerve. They did ask if MS ran in my family. I said no, which kind of contradicts them showing that it's not genetics, because you asked me if somebody in my family has it.
Right.
So they sent me to physical therapy. Fast forward to COVID. I got COVID a couple of weeks after COVID. For 8 days, I would wake up, and every time I would stand up, it would feel like I was going to pass out. So, and I was like dizzy. I had a headache. And like on the 8th day, I just told myself like, okay, you need to figure out what's going on. And then that was in 2020.
So dizziness, not to cut you off, but dizziness, numbness.
Yeah. I would get like tremors, like they would start in my brain and then go down my spinal cord and then down to my leg.
Wow.
Like it would feel like an electric shock was like shooting me. My mental health was horrible. My cognitive was horrible. I couldn't remember things that I knew my whole life.
And this was after you COVID or college? Like what time period in your life was this?
This was after COVID.
This was after COVID.
Yeah,
Okay.
to make me aware that something was going on.
Okay.
And then that's when I started trying to figure out what was going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember after COVID, they were saying that people had something called long COVID or something like that. The doctors try to say you had something like that. Like what?
They didn't say it, but my aunt did suggest that I speak with a doctor who specialized in COVID patients who were having some symptoms.
Right.
But once I did speak with them, they realized like this ain't no COVID. This is something else.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
But yeah, they did say it could be, but it wasn't.
Okay. You were recommended to see doctors at NYU. Is that correct?
Yeah.
When you went to see the doctors there, what kind of test or any information did they give you?
So they wanted my previous MRI just so they can compare. They also wanted to do a new MRI to compare from before. And that's when they had notified me that there were lesions on my brain from my previous MRI that was done, and there was a brain tumor as well. And the doctors had never told me that. So thanks to NYU, that's how I found out that I did have lesions. They ordered the MRI for my brain, but also for my spinal cord and like another part of my spine. And from there, it was lesions. They said from now we have to do a spinal tap. So they basically put me under with epidural under an x-ray, and then they had this long needle that they put in my spine where they drew up fluid, and that's technically the only way to be able to solidify that it's either MS, ALS, Gilliam syndrome, like other diseases. That's how they are able to get that confirmation through the spinal tap.
Okay. All right. So that's the MRIs, right? Because that's I want to get to the spinal tap thing. The MRI. So when they told you had lesions, where was it on the brain?
Yeah.
How did that make you feel? Like when you heard that news, was that like a shocker to you? Because I think that would be a shocker to
I was like, how do I get a lawyer? Because I'm like, I need some money off of this. Because had I known when that happened,
right,
I could have started treatment sooner.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the only reason why I couldn't get no money off of it was because they said MS isn't what it used to be. And because you can live with it now and it doesn't progress as fast. So they were like, unless it creates something in my life where like I get a cancerous tumor and like, or like my brain or formulate some type of weird disease, then he said I could maybe go back and sue. He said, but
So they want you on death's doorstep before you get some money, pretty much.
But we always worth more dead than alive anyway.
Talk about it. Talk about it. So the spinal tap, you said really long needle. Break that down to us. What is a spinal? For people who have no idea what a spinal tap is, first time hearing it. Mm-hmm. What is, I know you kind of explained the process, but what exactly is it?
So it's a procedure where they stick a needle inside of your spine and they take, I forgot what it is, the immunoglobulin glands or something that they take. But with the spinal tap, that's how they're able to diagnose multiple sclerosis, ALS, a lot of like neurological things, because you won't be able to do it from like blood work or MRI, nothing like that. Like lesions aren't enough to diagnose MS because you can have lesions and have a whole other disease. So the only confirmation they can get is from whatever that that they draw from your spine, that fluid, and then that's how they're able to determine that it's one of those types of diseases.
Okay. They put you to sleep for that, right? Do they numb you or something?
I was wide awake.
Talk about that. How did that feel?
I was nervous, but they really were really good with like talking me through everything as it was happening. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people feel differently about epidurals, but luckily they did my epidural under an X-ray, so they knew exactly where they were going into my spine.
Okay.
Then they like lifted me in the air. I thought it was pretty cool, and I didn't feel it was no pain.
Wow, no
pain.
Really? All right. Shout out NYU doctors. Clearly, they know what they doing over there.
Yeah. So, but it wasn't a bad process at all.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, get the MRI done. They notice some lesions. You get the spinal tap, and then after the spinal tap, what's the next part? What goes on after that?
So it was about maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. They told me when I get my results, don't open them because I won't understand them. But I'm not stupid. So I opened them. I was on vacation actually, and it said positive, and it was supposed to say negative. It said the results should say negative. Mine was positive. Then when it came to the immunoglobulin, excuse me, y'all, because I'm not a doctor, so I'm saying a lot of these terms wrong probably. But the normal gland bands to have was like 0 to 1, and my bands were 13. So that right there had already confirmed that I had something. Right. Now, they didn't say you have MS, but it was either I had MS, ALS, that Gillian, it's like another type of form of like MS, but just not as severe, I guess you could say. Okay. And then it was another type of disease. And of course I didn't want it to be ALS because then I knew what that meant. And then eventually with more testing, it was determined it was the multiple sclerosis.
ALS, that was really big a few years ago because they was doing like the water bucket ice challenge. You remember that, right?
Yeah.
I think most people, that might have been their first time being introduced to ALS, but MS is it's different. It's a different condition. So wait, hold on. Let me run that back a little bit. So you on vacation, you got your feet up, sipping your margaritas, then you open your MyChart and you get all these alerts that says basically you have MS on vacation.
Yeah.
Did you fly back home, or did you just close the phone and just?
I went downstairs, showed my aunt, and I was like, I got my results, and I said, I think I got MS, and she was like, yeah, you got MS.
Oh my God.
And then we went to the beach.
Oh.
And I just told myself, don't think about it until you get home, because I should have listened to what the doctor said. And then the doctor called me on that Monday and told me on the phone. So.
Okay. I'm glad it didn't let you stop your vacation. You know, you
Yeah.
can't stop your life, you know.
Yeah, because I knew it was something. I just didn't know what it was. So I was happy to finally figure out what it was.
Right.
So.
No, that makes sense. So you said your aunt was there. You told your aunt. How about your family in general? Were they supportive during this time when you got the diagnosis?
They were supportive, especially my aunt because she has lupus.
Okay.
She's in her 50s, but she's had it since she was like 13, 14.
Oh, wow. Shout out to her.
Yeah, and she was the only person who asked me, like, well, how do you feel about it?
Mm.
And that meant a lot to me because it was like so much being thrown at me. I didn't know how to feel.
Right.
I think my mom was like mourning, thinking that she was losing me as a daughter she knew.
Knew like how severe MS was.
Yeah,
Okay.
and thinking of like, you know, my Uncle Todd and just stuff
Right.
like that. But they were very supportive. I ended up losing my job. Not in a bad way, but they told me, you know, let us fire you so you can get unemployment, get that $600 at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and they let me keep my health insurance for a while.
Okay.
So they, you know, told me to go focus on your health. So that's what I started to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they were supportive.
Okay. Anybody in particular you leaned on for support?
God.
Amen. Amen, sister. Amen.
Because I feel like I know what you was trying to get at.
Amen.
But yeah.
Listen, I'm just here to ask questions, y'all. That's it. I'm just here to ask questions. You said earlier, you found out all these prominent people had MS. Montel Williams, and you went down the list of names. Can you expand on how you found strength through their stories? Like how did it kind of, you know, what was the thought process behind that? Did you like kind of intentionally, let me see who else is dealing with this so I could kind of like give myself some inspiration? You know, was it like that?
Yeah, I think because I knew that they had it, I automatically had like kind of went to see like how they lived their life. But then I also came across Selma Blair, and she was in Legally Blonde. And I saw what the disease can do, and what the disease was doing to her is what it did to my uncle. And I started to become afraid. But it also made me thankful and grateful to see like that you can be down at one point with MS, and then it's like it never happened, and you could be like okay again. But I did like really looking into like Tamia and Montel Williams because it's hard to find a lot of information on people with MS who are African American. So I really did try to like focus on like Richard Pryor, Tamia, Montel Williams, and yeah.
Okay, all right. People, they like to call what I have with sickle cell like an invisible illness because they could look at me and it's like, you look good to me, right? You look normal to me. I can't look at you and tell that you have MS, right? So for people at home, explain what a good day with MS looks like and what I guess a more complicated day with MS looks like.
A good day for me is waking up, feeling good mentally. Physically, I'm usually good. Get up, go to work, come home, go to the gym sometimes, be on the phone and do recreational things. A bad day is like I'm not able to hold my phone or hold anything in my hands. There's some times where I can't verbally speak. The things that I could think in my brain won't verbally come out of my mouth. My cognitive is completely off, coordination off, tremors, issues with swallowing, sometimes even issues with like with the bathroom, not being able to urinate. Yeah, I would probably say that, like forgetting to take my keys out the door, forgetting to turn off the water when I get out the shower. Like it's just little things like that. It's like that's a bad day for me.
And this could just happen randomly, like any day.
Any day.
Any day.
Like, we could be talking right now, and I can go home and take a nap and wake up, and everything I just described can just happen. And then I could go back to sleep, wake up the next day, and it's like it never happened. It's just an exacerbation.
Did the doctors let you know like that was part of the condition?
Because I would write them every time I had a new symptom. Because I was scared. My first 4 or 5 months, any new symptom, I would write my doctor, to the point that she was like, I think you need to find a mental care team, because you have to realize that this is a part of your life now. And unfortunately, yes, we can help treat symptoms, but it's not. It may never go away. So I definitely was blowing her up all the time on MyChart because I was scared.
That's understandable, because that's I think anybody would be, scared, just to say the least. In a situation like that. So let's circle back to the doctors. What was the next step for you medically once you was diagnosed? Did they offer up any treatments? Because you just said that they said maybe you need to get like a more specialized team. But what overall, on a macro level, what did they offer up for you for treatment going forward?
So they gave me the different options for treatment. They gave me suggestions, of course, because I don't have any kids yet and stuff like that. I chose to do the most aggressive treatment so that my disease does not progress faster. So they did give me that option, though, of do I want to do an IV treatment? Do I want to do oral treatments? Do I want to do no treatment? But they didn't force anything upon me, and I was grateful for that. And since I was already kind of going through this, I already had a neurologist who specialized in MS. So I didn't have to find one. I already just had her. We got all my blood work in. But before the treatment, they had put me on 1,000 milligrams of prednisone, and that was the first treatment plan before even doing anything else. And that crap took me from 150 to over 200 pounds in less than 30 days.
What is prednisone?
It's a steroid.
It's a steroid. Okay.
So it's to calm down the inflammation in your body, and it's an amazing drug.
Right.
But the side effects that it has, they're horrible. So they put me on 1,000 milligrams of prednisone for 8 days. From there, I was able to start my treatment. And then, I'm still on it now. Okay.
And you said it causes you to gain weight. That's a side effect of it?
The prednisone,
prednisone.
Yeah,
okay.
I did.
Okay. So you was like, hell no, I don't want to take this shit.
No, and it's and every time I get sick now, okay, we're going to prescribe you prednisone. And I'm like, please, no, because it's I just worked to get this weight off. And y'all want to put, come on. But then I'm like, what's more important, my vanity or my health?
Yo, give it up for that. Listen, give it up for that. That's a word. That's a word.
So,
yeah. No, I hear that. So your Uncle Todd, right? You said that you kind of seen his motor abilities just kind of, teeter as the condition got worse. Does that scare you, knowing you could eventually go down that path? I mean,
at this point in my life, I don't know. Damn, I don't know. It doesn't scare me because you know how I feel about death. But it scares me because I don't want other people to see me like that, which is sad because I shouldn't care about that.
Right.
But I don't want to I can't see myself living like a vegetable. not being able to leave my bed or my room, not being able to walk to the bathroom, or not even being able to feed or eat. I don't know if I would go probably to Utah and get some assisted. You know what?
Yeah. I don't know what we can say. Yeah.
But
I don't know if we can say that on YouTube. So if you got it, if you get it, you get it. Yeah.
Cut that part out.
If you get it, you get. If you understand, it's understood. It's understood. But
but it does.
But no,
scare me a
I
little
like
bit.
that's a real conversation, right? Like, people might try to avoid that, but that's real. Like, do you spend your whole life, being independent, like you said, being able to, the little things like being able to feed yourself, right? Being able to pick your nose, being able to, the little stuff that we take for granted, right? Get up out the bed, get something from the refrigerator in the middle of the night, and to not be able to do that anymore. Like, I don't think that's even a reality that most people would, want to face or even think about, right? So it's definitely a real we gotta laugh about it to keep from crying, because it's a real situation. You know what I mean?
And it's like with him, up until his last day, he never not wanted to be here. He loved life. Anytime you was with him, he had a smile on his face. So that's what kind of keeps me going, because it's like, if he could be, he didn't get to go see his son graduate from high school, can't see his son graduate from college, can't walk his son down the aisle, and yet this man is still happy that he's alive. And yet I'm sitting here like, oh, if I had this, I would. Like, it just, so it does scare me, but at the same time, as long as I still have my mind and my heart, I think I'll be okay.
Right. Shout out to that. Give it up for that. Does having MS now, does it motivate you any way to live your life differently or with a sense of urgency? Is it like I gotta kind of shake and bake now, really try to?
Yeah, I definitely have to take life for what it is and not waste any time. We could get back money, but you can't get back time.
Yes, right.
And
Amen.
so I just try to keep, people around me that I know have my best intentions at heart. I have the same best friends since literally kindergarten. Some of my closest friends are still from middle school, high school, even college. So, what the hell did you ask me? I forgot.
I said, we keep it all this in, because this is too good. This is pure. This is entertainment at its finest right here, y'all. Like, y'all better like, comment, subscribe to the page. I need all types of likes for this. This is entertainment, all right?
I'm gonna look in the camera. Hopefully, I can get my own podcast after this.
Yeah, listen, this is the spot.
You never know.
This is the spot. We'll go to the next question. Don't worry about that. What would be your message to someone who is in your position? They, got the test ran by the doctors, and then they open up their MyChart and they see that they've been diagnosed with MS. What would you say to them at that moment? Would you have any message for people going through that?
I would say it's okay to grieve your old body, because things are going to change. And it's okay to give yourself grace in those moments when you don't feel like you're okay. Don't try to push yourself too much and overexert yourself. Always listen to your body. And know that it's going to be okay. Thankfully, it has come a long way with treatments and things like that. There's some people that even live holistically with it. So just know it'll be okay. And yeah, you'll always be protected.
That's great. That's a great message. Great message. How has it been like to, because you say you've had, best friends since kindergarten, college, long time standing friends. When you meet new people, or even I don't know your relationship status, but if you date people, how do you go about inserting the fact that you have MS, that you deal with a medical condition like this? Is it something that you openly share with people, or is it something that you kind of reserve until they get to know you better? How do you go about dealing with that?
I'm very open about it. I like I don't I like for people to just know off rip so they can decide if they want to deal with it or not, even though it's not really anything to deal with. But I do like to let them know about it because even though it is a disease, like it doesn't define who I am. And like you said, like looking at me, you really wouldn't know that I have it.
Right.
So um, it hasn't been hard with that part of it. But I do usually let them know off rip.
All right, that's what's up. That's what's up. How would you deal with somebody that was like, that's something I not want to deal with? You think that would bother you? Or it's just like, whatever.
No.
And accept me as I am.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't care.
Yeah. No. Well,
Because it's a lot to take care of some. Well, but that's the thing. I'm not sickly because.
Well, a lot of people fear rejection. That's my whole point of asking that question. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean.
Especially for like a woman, y'all don't get turned down like ever. Like, women just don't get turned down. So I mean, it's not something you really got to deal with. Maybe me, but like, you know what I mean. But
I don't know. I'm at an age now. Like, if I love somebody, like we gonna ride it out. Like, we getting older, and obviously there are illnesses. So
yeah, for sure.
you just got to be headstrong, and you just have to have that right person in your corner. Honestly, who understands it, because just like we go through things as people with living with the disease, we also have to be mindful of the people who are in our lives who do care for us, because it affects them too sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You said headstrong, which leads me to my next question. You're big on mental health, and being headstrong. Very. You're an advocate, so you're like very dedicated to mental health. Tell me how that started and how that evolved into you being like an advocate for it.
So, I would say probably around the age of like 15. I don't know, my mental health just started tripping. I took a whole bunch of pills, tried to ended up in the psych ward. And I remember the person at intake was like, "You're not crazy, you just did something crazy." And I was just like, okay. And I was so scared. Like, I did not want my mom to leave my side at all, but she literally had to. From there, like, my mental health just kind of spiraled out of control. I was in a psych ward. They was about to make me stay in there. I almost missed my high school prom. And they just kept on saying, like, it was depression. Now, it could have been depression, but it more likely was an underlying, like something underlying. Fast forward to my mid-20s, same thing. My mental health had gotten worse, but I was also the type that I was out popping bottles, living a certain type of lifestyle. So I don't know if that was masking what I was feeling. And then from that, I started, popping pills and just doing things that I guess I was just trying to like run away from. I don't know. And then my mental health finally got stabilized when I would say I was probably like 28, 29, and I'm 32 now. I've been on like 14, 15 different types of medications to try to like have the right concoction cocktail to get me leveled out. And then that's when I was able to finally get the correct diagnosis from like 4 different psychotherapists and psychiatrists and stuff like that.
Wow. So where are you now with it? Are you in a better place? You feel like, or are you still on the way to being in a better
I'm more
place
stabilized in the sense of like with my medicine and stuff like that, but I definitely still struggle with my mental health. I feel like I'm gonna struggle probably until the day I die. Unless I find some type of outlet or because you can have a therapist and you can take medication, but with mental health, like you literally have to have a certain lifestyle to be able to maintain a stable, consistent, happy life. And I don't know if I need to start reading books or going to the gym or something, but something got to figure out because it comes and goes in waves.
Right.
But I would say now at this point in my life, I'm 80% better.
That's good.
And before, I was 20% better and 80% not.
That's good. Give it up for that. I gotta give it up for that. Progress. That's what matters. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
Thank you for sharing that. Again, what would be your message to somebody who went through that, who tried to for overdose on medication and fighting mental health and trying to mask it and escape through other things? What would you say to somebody?
I don't even know. I don't know, because I know how it is to be in that space, and there's nothing that anybody could say to me that would help me to get out of that space. Mm-hmm. So I really, truly don't even know what I would say.
You think it's something that you have to do on your own, like internally? It's not like, people always say find a support system, but do you feel like it starts with you?
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
It does, but I think for me, it really started because of somebody close in my life who had mental health issues, and he didn't take care of it. Mm-hmm. And he became an alcoholic, and, he basically drank his life away. So it's so many different ways that you can deal with mental health and not even necessarily harm yourself directly, but you can live a lifestyle where it's just like you just give up and not care anymore. And I don't know what could make somebody care, because if you're not wholesome and happy within yourself, your mom and dad and everybody else can tell you that they love you, but if you don't love yourself, none of that matters, So
right,
it is what it is.
No, that's a word. Y'all better be writing all these gems down, because she dropping a lot of jewels for y'all out there.
I'm trying.
So during that time when you were, like popping pills and stuff, did you have to go? Did you ever experience withdrawal from changing your life around and not, using medication like that recreationally?
Yeah.
How was that process? Getting off the medication?
I would say I went through 2 withdrawals. I missed a couple flights. It wasn't until the last one, I literally almost died. And I can't even speak about this because my mom don't even know the story, or my grandmother. So my family's gonna be but it wasn't until the third time that it was all right, you gotta stop, because if you don't, the next step might be this might take you out. I never thought that I could have a possibility of, God forbid, dying. Right. But that crap was serious. Wow. It was serious.
Yeah. Opioid withdrawals are very, very serious.
Yeah.
Very serious. Not fun. So where do you stand on traditional medication now versus a more holistic route? Let me ask you that. Do you believe in holistic medication, like acupuncture and, marijuana, things of that nature?
Yeah, I do.
The look on your face, I can't. How you feel about those?
That definitely helps. I believe in both, from my standpoint, because I can only speak from my disease. Mm-hmm. Yes, I do have my treatment that I do at the hospital, but I do also do holistic things. Acupuncture, cupping, all of that stuff helps so much with the disease, but it also helps with your mind. And I used to go once or twice a week. And when I tell you, I was so happy. I was getting up, going to work, sunglasses on, shades.
Okay. All right. Nice.
I was okay. But then that mental health comes in, and then it's like you don't want to go outside because now you're paranoid, and then you stop doing it, and now that lifestyle is gone. So, but I believe in holistic healing for sure.
Okay.
But I also do believe in traditional medicine for certain cases that need be.
Okay, that's dope. That's dope.
Mm-hmm.
Besides medication or anything like that, what's just something that just keeps you grounded? Like you said, reading a book, going to the gym, or I don't know, going to the salon. Like, what's something that you just like to do that's just a regular, keeps you grounded, keeps you happy, keeps you going? Like, anything like that? Maybe any hobbies? I guess I'm asking about.
I do like to. So I sing.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I love being with my family.
That's dope.
I be watching a lot of documentaries. Like, it's like I have this weird obsession with like learning about like Black history, but like during slavery times and stuff.
Okay.
So I've been doing that a lot. I do have books that I need to start reading.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, like, helping people is what makes me feel good. Like, so me just like helping people at work and things, like my kids at work.
Yeah, speak about that. Speak about what you do at work.
Yes, I love my job. So I work at this place called The Door.
Mm-hmm.
It's a drop-in center for runaway homeless youth. But we also provide other services between the ages of 12 to 24. But what I do is I work with the runaway homeless youth. We try to get them housing. We get them stabilized in school, get them job placement. We have food pantries. We offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner, have showers. We have a music studio, art studio, a gym. So I work as an intake outreach specialist there. And I always credit them and my kids from Covenant House, like, for saving my life, because they're really the reason why I stopped popping pills, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah, so they don't know that, but that's why.
Well, shit, shout out to them, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to the youth. That's important because they need direction. They need guidance, and I'm sure they're glad to have you there, and just like you're glad to have them, and vice versa. Last two questions before I let you go. What would be the message to your younger self?
Your looks won't get you anything.
Okay.
Your heart and how you treat people defines what a true person is. Don't think that you know everything. And just not to be so hard on yourself. I would probably tell myself that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's dope. Your disability has given you this ability to do or be what?
Resilient, brave, more confident. It's made me educated on so many different levels now, about our human bodies and like just different herbs and things that can help us, stuff like that. Yeah, I would probably say that.
That's dope.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming out today, my
I
friend.
appreciate you.
That was new episodes of Disability. You know where to find me on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video.
Yes.
This is MS Awareness Month, so please, if you know somebody dealing with MS, share it with them. It's important that we get these stories out to people who are dealing with the same conditions we deal with, so people don't feel like they're alone going through anything. That's important. So I'm also on the TikTok. My sister showed me how to use that. You can find me at Disability Podcast. And until next time, y'all. Peace.